Do you have an open bottle of Grenadine sitting around that you're not quite sure what to do with? Well, I've got the 5 best Grenadine cocktails. A couple of these are actually really new to me and I've only tried them within the last week, but they're fantastic. And I'm gonna save the absolute best, my favorite, which is one of the new ones, to the very end. So you have to stick around. But the first one is courtesy of Anders Ericsson. For you guys that aren't familiar, I'm sure all of you are. For those who aren't familiar, Anders is another fellow cocktail YouTube channel. He makes excellent content and he's been around for a couple of years now, and he's recently released a syrups with Portland syrups. This is his Grenadine, his very own recipe. Very, very cool. Bottle label is amazing. So you have to go check it out. I'll make sure I leave a link to this in the description below. The syrup itself, he sent me a couple bottles. I have opened one. Tastes delicious, really nice consistency, quite thick, very flavorful. It's got a nice floral note to it as well. And I've already tried some of these cocktails, hence why I've already gone through half of a bottle. So the first recipe I'm gonna try is the Shrunken Skull, which is featured on here. So this is the only one that I haven't tried, but it's featured on the bottle, so it has to be good. So let's get to it. It calls for an ounce of gold rum. Now, if a recipe calls for a gold rum, I'm typically going to reach for a bottle that doesn't have an age statement on it. It's an aged rum that has a couple of years age, but it's fairly young, essentially. It hasn't been sitting in a barrel for a longer time. Then an ounce of El Dorado, or specifically calls for a Demerara, non-specifically calls for a Demerara rum. I'm going to use El Dorado. And then we have Grenadine and fresh lime juice. So this is shaken with pebble ice and then dumped into the glass. So let's get straight onto the cocktails. I've got 5 for you today, so let's not waste any time. The simplest recipe of them all, just an ounce of each ingredient. So I'm using Appleton Estate. This is their signature rum. Average age of about 4 years. But if you're going to grab a gold rum, typically probably grab something that's like 2 or 3 years old. I don't think I have any other rums that don't have age statements on it. So then we have a Demerara rum, so El Dorado 8, 1 ounce, 30 ml. And then likewise for the Grenadine, ounce of Grenadine, and balance out that sweetness with an ounce of lime juice. Oh, that texture. Good job. Good job, Anders. And of course, the team at Portland Syrups. We have 1 ounce, 30 ml of fresh lime juice. Then I'm going to add, you can either flash blend this with pebble ice or give it a whip shake. And for those that aren't actually familiar with what Grenadine is, it's a pomegranate syrup. There's a multitude of ways to make it, but essentially it has pomegranate puree, pomegranate molasses, or pomegranate juice. You can also make it yourself, and then there's usually a floral note to it. So often orange blossom water. In this one, it has rose petals and rose. Let me double check before I say that. I'm pretty sure it's rose petals and rose buds. Yes, yeah. This also does have a little bit of citric acid in it. By the taste of it, not very much. I do have some other Grenadine syrups, and they've got more citric acid, and therefore they're a little bit more acidic. This one's quite sweet. Quite sweet and flavorful, not in a bad way. Right, give it a whip shake. So pebble ice, and then shake for 8 seconds. And transfer that into the glass, and then top it up with more pebble ice. The recipe does call for a umbrella to garnish with, but a little bit of mint lying around, so going that way instead. It's like a kind of tiki-fied cocktail on pebble ice. So mint's kind of a go-to garnish for me. It's a bit of a shitty sprig, but hey. And of course, use a Surfside Sips, a borosilicate straw. These are the absolute best straws you can get. Head to surfsidesips.com and use STB20 for 20% off if you like. Description, link in the description as well. There you go, there's the Shrunken Skull, gold rum, Demerara rum, Grenadine lime juice, super simple, shaken with pebble ice. Oh yes, that's a wicked combination of rum, nice bright lime juice, and then you've got this beautiful pomegranate and like this ever so subtle kind of floral note to it. Oh, that's fantastic. That's a really good one to start with. The pomegranate is definitely the hero. All right, cocktail number 2. the 12-mile limit. What we have is a lightly aged rum, cognac, rye whiskey, grenadine, and fresh lemon juice. 5-ingredient cocktail, incredibly easy recipe to remember again because it's just 1 ounce, half ounce, half ounce, half ounce, half ounce. So let's get straight into it and make sure I've got a glass set aside and chilling. And of course, make sure you've got a glass set aside that's chilling down. So the 12-mile limit, this is a pre-prohibition cocktail. It's around that era that I believe grenadine was first created, so therefore inspired a lot of bartenders, and it was quite common to use grenadine in cocktails. Hence you'll get cocktails such as the Ward 8, the SCOFFLAW from that prohibition era. But this is pre-prohibition, and we're measuring 1 ounce, 30 ml of a lightly aged rum. Whilst this is a lightly aged rum, it is fairly full flavored as far as light rums go. Rum from Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad. Then we have half ounce of cognac, 15 ml. Oops, that was about 16 ml. And this cocktail here is probably up there with one of my favorites too. Half an ounce, 15 ml of rye whiskey. I'm using Rittenhouse rye, 51% rye, a little bit of spice, not too spicy. This is actually out of all these cocktails, this is my wife's favorite. Half an ounce, 15 ml of grenadine. And when you're making these cocktails, when you're using a syrup, especially something as thick as this, pour the grenadine first, and then add the fresh juice, lemon juice, half an ounce, 15 ml, and it just rinses out your jigger. Then add ice, give it a shake for 10 to 12 seconds. I lost my rhythm then. Into a chilled stemmed cocktail glass, Nick and Nora for this one. This is Whiskey's Nick and Nora glass. And for garnish, nice and simple, just there's lemon juice in the drink. So I'm going to do lemon peel. Just a little twist, get some oils out of the drink and drop it in. Pretty basic. So there you have the 12-mile limit. Cheers. Now the pomegranate is a little bit more subtle in this one, but this is incredibly balanced. It's a lot lighter, it's not as rich as the first cocktail I tried. It's a delicate balance considering it's got a fairly full flavored rum as well as something really quite spicy. Sorry, not really spicy, but something, a little bit of a spicier whiskey. It's a tasty drink. Next cocktail is the SCOFFLAW. We've got rye whiskey, dry vermouth, grenadine, of course, fresh lemon juice, and orange bitters. So this is a prohibition cocktail. It was created in Paris around 1930. I'll leave extra details in the description below. Now this is a little bit different, this particular spec that I'm using. So it kind of goes into the realm of like a sour format where you've got the spirit component, and then you've got 3/4 ounce of both the sweetener, being grenadine, and 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. Now the older recipes that were first created, I believe it was probably half an ounce, and it would be a lot drier. So if you think this is going to be a little bit too rich for your blood, then for your liking, then perhaps go for the half ounce. Otherwise, just try them both and compare, see which one you guys like. So starting with the rye whiskey, just going to go with the old trusty Rittenhouse and measure out 1.5 ounce, 45 ml, straight into the shaker, followed by 1 ounce, 30 ml of dry vermouth. I'm using Dolan, so this is going to add some slightly herbal, grapey, citrusy notes to the drink, but dry as well. Then we've got the grenadine. So I did say I'm going to do 3/4 ounce, but I'm going to do a scant measure, so it's like slightly under that. This is the time where I need an OXO jigger so I can steal Honda's technique. He always kind of leaves the jigger sitting like this and then lets the ingredients drain out, which would be handy with this grenadine. And scant 3/4 ounce of lemon juice. And then 1 dash of orange bitters. Add ice and then shake for 10 to 12 seconds. Ooh, smells good. Into a chilled glass. And double strained. And this one is, again, lemon juice in the drink, lemon peel garnish. Gonna go a little bit longer this time. It's pretty hardy lemons. Probably should have used the OXO peeler instead of the Bosco. There's one chunky garnish. There you have the SCOFFLAW, rye whiskey, dry vermouth, grenadine, lemon juice. Cheers. It's got a really nice, nice richness to it. When I did try this last, the reason I did say use probably a scant measurement, it was a little bit too rich, a little bit too full on using the 3/4 ounce each of these. So just that, literally that minute amount less. This is a far better drink. This works really well. It's rich, but not too rich. Great combination using that dry vermouth as well as those bright pomegranate flavors. It's tasty. So we're moving away from rye whiskey and rum for the time being. Tequila cocktail, Mexican firing squad. Can't do a Grenadine cocktails compilation without having a Mexican firing squad. So tequila, Grenadine, swap out my lemon juice and now replace it with lime juice, Angostura Bitters, and I'm going to garnish that with a slice of lime, a wheel of lime I should say, and a maraschino cherry. And this one's served on ice. I can't remember, I think in my last video of doing the Mexican firing squad I served it over pebble ice. I'm low on pebble ice. I'm going to do it on cubed. Same again with this cocktail. It is in the sour spec, so we're doing 2 ounces of tequila and then 3/4 ounce of the grenadine and the lime juice. Nice and easy one. Touch of grenadine still sitting in there. Blanco tequila, Carrera, new to my shelf. Really quite like it. 2 ounces, 60 ml of your Blanco tequila. I'm pretty sure I had a few people comment and say that they actually really like this with a reposado too. And again, I'm going to do scant measurement, so ever so slightly under the 3/4 ounce marker. 3/4 ounce of grenadine, 3/4 ounce of fresh lime juice, scant measurement. And 2 dashes of Angostura Bitters. Again, I'm using a Japanese style dasher bottle, so I needed 3x that. So 6 dashes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm gonna give it a shake. Now, I do have a lot of people ask in the comments about why you don't use that ice in your shaker tin after shaking a cocktail. Very common question, and it's mostly aesthetics. So the ice that's in here has been shaken, it's diluted. There's obviously little ice shards and everything like that inside the cocktail shaker. It just looks a lot nicer for presentation if you have fresh cubes of ice. Now, of course, if you're short on ice, then you can just dump it straight into the glass without the fresh ice if you're making cocktails at home for yourself. But generally, most high quality cocktail bars are going to serve it, well, all of them will serve it over fresh ice for presentation purposes. Garnish with a wheel of lime and a maraschino cherry. There you have the Mexican firing squad. Make sure you stick around, of course, because the last cocktail is my absolute favorite of all 5. But the Mexican firing squad was a close, very, very close contender. So this one came about around 1937, or at least prior to 1937, but the first time it was published was in a travel writer's cookbook / cocktail book, and there's not really a lot of information prior to 1937. But that was when it was first featured in a American writer's book. When you get those citrusy, sweet pomegranate notes first, and then after that, that's when those agave notes come through. That slight pepperiness from your Blanco. It's a surprisingly good drink. and I can't believe I hadn't tried it until literally like a couple of months ago. Fantastic. All right, we have the Queen's Park Hotel Super Cocktail. Freaking love the name, love the drink. Only recently tried it after seeing it on Anders' channel in his Grenadine cocktails video, which I'll also link to in the description below, which he's done a few more cocktails on top of the 5. So make sure you check that out after you finish watching this one. This is an excellent drink. As I said, it's new to me, but it's really quite rich, it's moreish, and it showcases the Grenadine very, very nicely. So I want to make sure you chew your glass. So this is a rum cocktail, and specifically it calls for a rum from Trinidad. So something like Angostura, something with a little bit of age. This particular one has an age of 7 years. The Queen's Park Hotel, I'm pretty sure it's a hotel that's on Queen's Park, so in Trinidad. So therefore it makes sense to use a rum from there. And I'm sure the cocktail came from that particular hotel. I really didn't do a lot of research into these cocktails. The research, the extent of that, it was just tasting the cocktails, not actually doing a research about the history. So if you came here for the history, I apologize. 1.5 ounces, 45 ml of an aged rum from Trinidad. And this is where it gets interesting, because we're pairing a rum in a citrusy cocktail with sweet vermouth. This is, I can't think of a cocktail off the top of my head that has that kind of combination. So Coqui di Torino, a vermouth that has bitter orange and cocoa notes, so kind of like a little bit chocolatey. So that chocolatey note will pair really, really nicely with the rum, and you've got that tart pomegranate flavor. So chocolate, pomegranate, and you know, the typical flavors of a rum. Intrigued me and tastes really, really good. So 1 ounce, 30 ml. And then we have, 1 ounce, half an ounce. I'm gonna keep this footage in there. Oh no, damn it. I'm sorry guys, I know I just threw that away. Let's do that again. Anytime someone says you should pour your cheapest ingredients first, i.e. your lemon and lime juice, I'm always like, just don't stuff up, don't get it wrong. That's why I'm gonna keep on camera, just to show you guys that, yeah, I do make mistakes. Everyone does. 1.5 ounces of aged rum, followed by half an ounce, 15 ml of sweet vermouth. That would have been incredibly sweet otherwise. And we have Grenadine, half an ounce, 15 ml, and fresh lime juice. The sugar content from both the Grenadine and the Coqui di Torino, the sweet vermouth, obviously you can use a different sweet vermouth, makes this really rich, and you get the sort of inherent sweetness from the rum, the barrel-aged rum. You've got you know, those kind of vanilla, oaky notes to it. And then you've got that little dash of Angostura Bitters that adds a nice tempers it and adds a bit of spice. So we have half an ounce, 15 ml of lime juice. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit excited for this cocktail. Tastes really good. 2 dashes of Angostura Bitters, so I'm going to 3x it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then shake it, serve it in a Nicanora. A little bit scattered today. Into chilled Nicanora it goes. The only problem with these Grenadine cocktails is they all look the same as far as colour goes. And for garnish, I'm just going to do a lime coin, expressed over the top and dropped in. There you have the Queen's Park Hotel Super Cocktail. Oh, it looks rich as well. Oh, even better the second time around. Absolutely, this is my favorite cocktail. I really like the richness and that flavor combination of rum, sweet vermouth, and pomegranate. It's unique, and I can't believe I haven't tried it before. I actually I put out a question on the community tab and asked what people's favorite Grenadine cocktail was, and this came back quite a few times. A lot of comments saying that the Queen's Park Hotel Super Cocktail is great. So thanks guys, thanks for the recommendation. Thanks for watching guys. Make sure you check out the links in the description below so you can go grab a bottle of Anders Grenadine and pick up some Surfside sips. Otherwise, I'll see you soon for another cocktail video. Cheers.